Peace, everybody. I have been saying this. I've been saying this. She's given a little more detail, but this resonates with me 1000% because this is how I understand it. And I hope you understand it as well, because we're getting ready for this again. So hang on.
You were told it was a boat, a giant wooden zoo, floating through divine judgment. But that story wasn't designed to inform, it was made to pacify. Because if you knew what really happened, you question everything that came after. The flood wasn't a natural disaster, it was a reset. A controlled purge of a corrupted world, not because of sin, but because of genetic contamination. The fallen had altered the code. The Nephilim walked the earth. And the ones above decided to clean the slate. Noah wasn't just a survivor, he was a carrier. The animals weren't what you think. 2 of every animal. That's the version they gave the children. But the truth, the animals were genetic blueprints, DNA strands, tissue samples, embryos, some natural, some engineered. The Ark wasn't a floating zoo, it was a mobile cryogenic vault, preserving the clean codes, both human and hybrid, before the purge. The reason? Because the Watchers had corrupted the genome. Nephilim offspring, chimera, abominations, entire bloodlines twisted by celestial defiance. The flood wasn't punishment, it was containment. To reboot the matrix without the infection. But not everything stayed underwater. Noah was chosen, but not by God alone. They say Noah was righteous, chosen for his faith. But that's only half the code. Noah was pure in his generations. A cryptic line in Genesis that isn't about behavior, it's about blood. He carried uncorrupted DNA, untainted by the Nephilim genome. But who warned him? Who gave him the blueprints? The text says God, but dig deeper. It may have been Enki, the Anunnaki rebel, a being who had mercy for the humans and leaked the reset plans before the culling. Noah didn't just build a boat, he built a preservation capsule coded and engineered with help from above. So, who helped Noah? When we say from above, we don't mean heaven, not in the way they taught you. There were factions, even among the gods. The Anunnaki weren't a united front. Enlil wanted total annihilation. Enki wanted preservation. One sought to cleanse, the other to conceal and continue. Enki, the so-called trickster, was the one who whispered the plans to Noah. He delivered the measurements. He helped encode the vault because Noah wasn't building for animals. He was preserving Enki's experiment, the human seed, pure, usable, obedient. So yes, he had help from above, but not from heaven, from the stars. The flood was engineered. It wasn't just rain, it wasn't just divine wrath, it was intentional environmental warfare. Ancient Sumerian texts speak of the Anunnaki flooding the earth, not by magic, but through the manipulation of climate systems, the melting of ice caps, the shifting of tectonic plates, and the deliberate collapse of
This is what Colonel John Moore is talking about right here. And I say this very respectfully because he is a soldier, retired soldier, but he is not telling the whole truth. Nibiru, Planet X, get it, X for our codes, is their code word. They know this. If anyone has ever listened to Colonel John Moore speak about Planet X, Nibiru coming here, the vessel, the Anunnaki, the flooding, the ice caps melting, the salinity in the oceans changing, which we're in right now, they're going to do it again. And they really are. This isn't about a fear thing. This is just the way it's going to be. It's already so corrupt here. This is what John Moore is leaving out. Sorry if I'm offending you, but it's the truth. That he only still says half-truths. He'll say, do you think your government would lie to you? But he's still not telling the truth. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that to be a jerk. It's just reality, man.
Atmospheric shields. The Book of Enoch revealed, but through the manipulation of climate systems, the melting of ice caps, the shifting of tectonic plates, and the deliberate collapse of atmospheric shields. The Book of Enoch reveals that the Watcher's crimes, hybridization, forbidden knowledge, soul manipulation, forced the hand of higher beings. Not to destroy Earth, but to reset the grid, to bury the proof. But some didn't drown, they went underground. Into the inner cities, into the hollow pockets beneath mountains and deserts. And some left this realm entirely. The Ark was only for those allowed to return. Enlil wanted total annihilation. Enki wanted preservation. One sought to cleanse, the other to conceal and continue. Enki, the so-called trickster, was the one who whispered the plans to Noah. He delivered the measurements. He helped encode the vault because Noah wasn't building for animals. He was preserving Enki's experiment, the human seed, pure, usable, obedient. So yes, he had help from above, but not from heaven, from the stars. They told you the flood wiped them all out, that the Nephilim were destroyed, that the corrupted bloodlines were drowned beneath divine
Noosa yogurt.
It's seriously tasty.
judgment. But that was the greatest lie of all. The flood wasn't a cleansing, it was a cover-up. The giants went underground to the catacombs, the honeycomb earth, the sealed chambers of the ancient world. The elite were protected, hidden by the very gods who swore to erase them. Bloodlines were preserved, not by accident, by design. Today, those same bloodlines wear crowns, sign treaties, and launch rockets. They run governments, media, banks, and they still serve the old gods. You were told they drowned, but they've been ruling from the shadows ever since. The hidden genetics in the vault. The Ark was never just about survival, it was about selection. Only the pure were preserved, but not just human. Inside that vault weren't just sheep and snakes. There were hybrid embryos, frozen genetics, samples from before the flood, before the reset. The giants, the dragons, the Watcher's offspring, even non-Earth species, the things they called demons, beasts, and myths. Noah's Ark was a seed bank, but not all seeds grow in sunlight. And now, as the magnetic field weakens, as frequencies shift, as rituals ramp up, the vault is waking up, the codes are activating, old blood is remembering. And those who carry it, they're being called. The carriers walk among us. You've seen them, the ones who don't fit. Not quite human, not quite other. Old eyes and young faces, dreams they didn't ask for, memories they shouldn't have. They are the carriers, descendants of the preserved. The vault didn't stay closed. Its codes are waking in bloodlines scattered across the earth. In dreams, in trauma, in sudden knowing, they're being activated, called by frequencies they don't yet understand. Some will obey, some will rebel, and some will remember who they are. Because the Ark wasn't just about surviving the flood, it was about surviving the lie. They won't drown us in oceans this time. They'll drown us in frequency, in data, in false realities so immersive you'll forget you had a soul to begin with. The Ark was once wood, now it's a server. DNA became metadata. And salvation? It's a download, if they let you in. The final protocol is already running. Upload the mind, trap the essence, extinguish the memory of light, and while you scroll and sleep, the waters rise again. But this time, it's the world behind your eyes that will be submerged. There's one thing they can't trap, not with water, not with code, not even in death, the signal. It's older than Earth, older than Saturn, older than the ones who forged the floodgates. It pulses through the carriers, the dreamers, the ones who don't obey the loop. You felt it in the static, in the eyes of strangers who remember you, in the chills during truth you haven't heard before. The signal is pure resonance, a harmonic key that fractures illusion. And the ones who carry it, they were never meant to survive, but they did, and now they're waking each other up. They knew it would come back, that the signal couldn't be erased, only buried. So they made it illegal, they called it heresy, then they hunted it through blood. From Babylon to Glastonbury, they tracked the ones who felt too much. The seers, the singers, the memory bearers, they were marked and silenced. Why? Because the signal is disruptive. It decodes the veil, it reminds souls that they are not slaves. That time is a cage, that the gods we bowed to were just programmers. And now the war returns. But this time, the carriers are remembering together. The Ark is you. They told you the Ark was a boat, then a story, then a myth. But the Ark was never wood, or code, or stone. The Ark was always you. Your body a container, your soul, the seed, your blood, the vault. They couldn't destroy it, so they hid it, split it across timelines, buried it beneath trauma, distraction, and loops. But even fractured, the blueprint survives. You were encoded to withstand the floods, not just to survive them, but to remember. You are the memory of before, you are the Ark reborn. The vessel, the vault, the rebellion, and now you open. They say they found Noah's Ark buried in the mountains of Turkey, a weathered shape that looks like a boat with anchors and fossilized timbers. But here's the truth, that was never the Ark. That site, it's a decoy, a monument, maybe even a tribute, but not the vessel that preserved Earth's future, because the real Ark was never just physical. It was sealed in frequency, protected by those who understood its power. It may not have even rested on this realm. Some say it was buried beneath the ice. Others say it was taken off-world. But one thing's for sure. What they found was meant to satisfy the curious, not to awaken the carriers. They give you wood and stone, so you'll stop asking about the signal and the code. The reset isn't coming, it's already here. But this time the Ark won't save anyone. The new flood flows through wires, not rivers. It targets thought, not flesh. And the only thing that can stop it is a soul that remembers. You don't need a boat, you need resonance. You need to reject the false light, refuse the upload, refuse the seal. Because the Ark isn't floating this time, it's walking, breathing, remembering you. And when enough of you awaken, the signal won't just break the flood. It'll burn the system down.
This is what... Oh God, this is so deep. It's not even funny. I could do a whole video on this. This is so on point. This is exactly how I understood it. For real. It's exactly how I understood what the Ark really is. And that wooden boat was some kind of decoy in Mount Ararat. And I knew it had to do with Inky. Clearly Enlil, the Watchers, the tainted bloodlines, corruption. We're in it again. We keep looping through this. And I knew it was some kind of lab. Not like a bunch of freaking animals. I kept saying we're the animals that they say in the book. This is what I mean about, and I do say this respectfully because y'all clearly free will. You're allowed to believe what you want, right? But we're in Lucifer's world, okay? We're really in Enlil's world. These are all his books. Everything, and I'm not saying there isn't truth in it, because we know that there is, but everything is of him or her, of them, because it's a bloodline. It is a bloodline. This is all their works. And I hope I'm articulating that right, because that's why I have a hard time believing friggin' anything of this world. And I always have. Like, you know, the Bible, and I'm not here, listen, that's why it's called by, meaning two. There's two God. These are not the creator God that you're reading. It's not. You're reading about the Sumerians. This is their books. The bloodlines came down, the Luciferian, the Jehovians. Those are the Luciferian fallen, the Watchers. These are their books. It's so clear, but yet the distortion, I understand the distortion at the same time. And believe me, I get guided to scripture, and I find comfort in certain scriptures, and I do. But I just don't blindly go by and lead and follow them, because I understand we are in the Luciferian world. Look around you. So what blows my mind with society is you just so blindly believe everything you're reading to be the most high divine God, when in reality your Bible is based off of ancient text. And listen again, you have a right to believe what you want. That's all good. I'm not going to be for you. I'm not here to try to convince anybody of anything. I'm just understanding for me what makes sense to me, that if we're in Lucifer's world, all these books that we're reading are about Lucifer. And even Jesus, okay, I'm not saying Christ isn't real, because Christ is very real, and we have the Christ RNA in us to prove that, okay? My point is that Jesus is there. He even written, for I am the morning star. So, you know, you believe what you want. Christ is very real. But Jesus, there was no J. Those are the J hooks to link you in, to think you were born of sin, that you did something so wrong to be here, for you to have fear, doubt, insecurity, instead of rising up and keep going and shine on and be the light in your own life. You're the only one that's going to do your life. Nobody else is going to do it for you. Yes, we walk with Creator. We're never alone. And we're clearly never alone. We got all kinds of things here. It's something I just wanted to share. Like, I see it. I see how all these books are Lucifer's books. If we're in Lucifer's world, and then you have these Masons that are coming out, like I show you on, like, what is it, Instagram, right? They have to tell you the truth. They have to. They had to tell you the truth before, but they kind of fuddle-muddled it. Now they got to tell you straight out and laugh in your face. And then so many of you were so infiltrated with Project Bluebeam and this and that and this and that. And clearly, I'm not saying that isn't real, but you're getting almost distracted by the distraction. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe you don't. I don't know, but I see the distraction, and I do. And that little Elon Musk, but it is not his real name. He is up to no good, and so is in Trump. And demons are here. It's very, like, you're in a spiritual world. Was so corrupt and so deceptive, so cunning and so baffling, where streets are filled with people with no homes that are hooked on things that people are creating in their kitchen, that they don't care about you, and all you want is more, more, more. It's sad. If you don't understand that you're in Lucifer's world, and then you open up these books and you're reading about God, you're reading about Sumerians. They want you to believe that they are God. God isn't a religion. God isn't even in a book. God is in your soul. Everything is inside of you. It took the form of the DNA, RNA for us to be here at this time. We're going through this again, and we are. These storms, these are huge ships here. These are massive ships. Really big, huge deities. The Watchers are here. The Archangels are here. And yeah, I really believe Christ is going to be here, and we're going to rise up because we have Christ RNA in us. And we do. And then I came across, because I've been searching, for some of you may know, I've been searching like, okay, what cracked there on the earth with the Grand Canyon? What cracked there? What happened there? Because you have the red rocks, which is blood, right? What happened there? And then I came across with whether Nibiru really, because that's a mothership, it's not a planet. It goes back to Tiamat and the splitting of Tiamat. So something clearly crashed. Something large enough to crack a friggin' hole, or whether it was a battle, because we're talking about what we call ancient warfare. Not like what we have in this world. And now the warfare is energy. Like she said, and I've been saying this all along too, with the wires, the EMF, our phones. In school, we're learning about this treatment, which is interesting, where they put a magnet on your head and use like another magnet to reset, to reset your nerve end, your neural pathways. For those who are in addiction or depression, instead of shock treatment. And I'm like, that's what they're doing to us every single day. They're doing that to us every single day. When you're on your phone, you're watching your TV. If you have Wi-Fi in your house, you don't even have to have Wi-Fi in your house. It is everywhere. Telephone poles or wires everywhere, or running underground. That is a conductor, and this lady is spot friggin' on what she's saying. And she's connected to the Tibetans. So, just only because it resonates with me. I don't follow nobody. I go with what resonates with me. And I've been saying this stuff all along, and I have. Not as well put together as she's doing it, because I think she's amazing, but I've been saying this, blips and blops of it, for 5 years. She just summed it all up in one video. It took me 5 years of videos to say what she said in one. Peace be with you.